I want to begin with congratulating our guys on a hard-fought win. We respect these guys from Michigan State a great deal. I still remember being a little kid growing up in southern Indiana, and I didn't get to go to very many IU games. And there was one game I went to, and I think Sean Rispert probably put up 44. And there's these moments as a little kid that you're like, wow, like to be a part of those types of environments. And tonight felt like that. This was electric. I'm not saying we got a very warm welcome, but this was a good sign for our guys to be able to battle in this type of physical game and come up with enough rebounds and loose basketballs to get over the hump against a team that we struggled with last year.
Speak to kind of rough start to the second half, and then the way your guys made plays down the stretch. Merez with the screen and some big rebounds, and Yaxel with some plays, and Elliott obviously with big shots too.
Yeah, we were struggling to find any rhythm offensively, and you're always in a pickle when we feel like we're always in a pickle. That do we continue to play fast when you have a 10-point lead, or do you try to manage the game a little bit better? And we're so proficient out in open floor that we really never want to stop going to that. And we just made a few bad decisions. We gave them easy baskets. We got the crowd into it. I didn't do a good enough job of calling a timeout. I thought we were settled in. I thought we would need them late in the game as we did. And, we didn't manage that stretch very well. But I also thought they came out with the mindset that they were going to put their head down and get to the rim and put the onus on the officials every possession. And I would say this, that the three guys worked tonight. They had a very difficult job, and they earned their Big Ten salary for the last 2 hours.
One of Yaxel's best games in a Michigan uniform, 26 points. I guess what went into his consistency in terms of his scoring for you guys tonight?
I thought he was just around the ball. I think the 6 offensive rebounds, and this is just off memory, that I think each of those were the deciding plays. Obviously, we went down 2. Cheddar hits a 3 to get us up 1, and I felt like our next several baskets were loose ball rebounds, tip outs, and then we were able to get to the bonus, and he obviously made big free throw after big free throw in a very intense environment. And so just proud of his resolve and his ability to step up and be capable of getting the job done.
Yeah, Dusty, obviously this game in and of itself is huge, but that's 2 top 5, top 10 wins in a row. This was kind of a pivotal week in terms of your season. What did your guys prove tonight?
I think we proved that we can still win in different ways. We haven't been in 2 games like we were in this week where there was so little movement. You're challenged for every inch of the court. You're challenged for every step. And so last year's team, we didn't respond very well once the Big Ten got into this part of the season. And we addressed that through recruiting. And our guys were able to do that tonight. They were able to get just enough space and separation and create the angles, and guys stepped up and made plays.
Dusty, I'm wondering about the stretch. You mentioned about the 3 from Cheddar, but the stretch there that Elliott had with the dish to Morez and a couple of the buckets that he had. How big was that in kind of putting the game away there, and then just the overall battle between Elliott and Fears tonight?
Well, 2 elite point guards. That's one thing about the Big Ten. There's about 10 high-level point guards, and I may be forgetting a few. I'm not sure Fears isn't as good as any of them. I'm taking Elliott against anyone. I thought his little short 6-foot hook floater was the play that forced them to give him a little more tension, and then he got those easy baskets. And as you guys know, most of you guys are Michigan State people, you watch their games. It's not easy to get a dunk against them, and I thought Elliott and Merez were able to generate some great looks with their physicality, but most importantly, just going up through contact in the paint. But it was a credit to Elliott. We just put the ball in his hands and tried to camouflage what we were doing just a little bit without overcomplicating it, and he got us some great looks.
Dusty, to have a 18-point lead early here and then fall behind in the second half and come back and win, is that almost something you needed to see from your team or wanted to see how it would handle probably the toughest place you can play?
No, I would rather us kept that 18-point lead and maybe built on it and played great. But we also have to be able to win these types of games in the Big Ten tournament, that'll be important to us, the Big Ten regular season, the NCAA tournament. And so, no, every one of these games, especially against a culture like this, I mean, those guys, it's, equated to the Indiana football team. Like, those guys are old. I mean, you look at their front line, they're seasoned. They've been around the block and fought in some battles. So for us to compete at their level and then figure out a way to not collapse when it looked bleak, I think, for everyone wearing maize and blue, and to find a way, it's going to help us going forward, because we'll refer back to these moments and give this is going to give our guys even more confidence.
Dusty, for the way the night started of walking out of the tunnel and getting that welcome that you talked about from Michigan State fans, it's become memes. It's an image that's gone all around the internet. Can you categorize what the decision was to walk out there before your guys and kind of soak in that welcome before they stepped out there in this environment?
I was actually just taking a peek. I thought when we pulled in, the students were still lined up down the block. And even when we rode in at the Kalamazoo entrance or whatever, there's a long line. And I assumed it was students. I was like, okay, they're not in yet. But, man, this is like we're building. This is a big time. There's a lot of anticipation for this game. And so I walked by and I was greeted as soon as I stuck my head out on the court, and at that point I was like, there's no way I'm ducking and running from this smoke now. This stuff doesn't bother me. And so I just let them get all their frustration and their animosity out early, and then that way they can enjoy the game. So I felt like I contributed to the environment just a little bit.
Coach, what did you say to your team in that final timeout with like 30 seconds left?
That we need to keep our composure, that we're going to play again, and not to get caught up in any riffraff.
Yeah, Dusty, just the streak, not having one here in several years, what does that mean to the team? And also, you said last year that you learned last year that there was too much emphasis placed on the game versus playing the game itself. Do you think the team lived up to what you wanted them to do as far as their emphasis?
Well, if you're resulting, absolutely, we did everything right. But I do think a lot more focus was put on what we needed to do to beat Michigan State. And if we were going to beat them, we had to be very sound in these areas. So that was really the extent of it. Merez Johnson, these guys have been in these environments. These Big Ten guys, Adai, Merez, the Big Ten guys, Elliott played at Cameron. I'm sorry, who's ever phone that was? So they've been in these environments before, so we didn't talk too much about it, and they were aware. These guys are on social media. They watch basketball. So, but anyway, if that answers your question. No, we just focused on what we needed to do to win the game. Pardon? Yeah, once again, we stole it from it was the Indiana at Penn State football game, and I thought their coach made a great point. Coach Signetti just said, this team's never played here, so we just kind of went into it. That, obviously last year we were 0-2 against these guys, but this team that we have in our locker room, they were 0-0, and so we're not talking about what the past teams have done. Obviously, this is important for our fans, but for us, this was more about winning a Big Ten game on the road and staying in a hunt, because we've got a very challenging schedule coming up.
Dustin, when you talk about a difference in a year, what kind of growth has this been for you, being in this program, being a leader, and the healthy respect you have for Michigan State, just going from what last season was like to right now and going forward?
Well, like I said, there's a few programs in our league that have 40 to 50 years of culture, tradition, and it's just running like a well-oiled machine. We're still held accountable that we don't have 50-year seniors in year two. And so we're trying to build it with the right type of people, but we're also our job is also to put the best team on the court for Michigan to win, and for us to be successful with our culture and it has to be great guys that care about other people, that want to work together and do it as a unit. And so we've made a big jump in year two, but I want to give our guys from last year a lot of credit. Danny and Vlad, as you guys saw, they were very pivotal and literally 50 bigs across the country watching our games, and then they go into portal and say, I want to go do what they're doing because it was so rare. Now, we didn't break the news to a lot of them that you can't do what they're doing right now. That's pretty special with their skill set. So we weren't very transparent with that. But credit last year's team. They gave us a glimpse of what we could be, and then this team has such a high ceiling. We're not anywhere near being where we need to be if we're going to win a regular season championship, which is the ultimate marathon.
Dusty, I know you weren't able to hold on to the 16-point halftime lead, but what did you like about how your team played in the first half?
Well, to be honest, I thought we made some errors that allowed them to get some easy baskets and stay in a rhythm. For example, we fouled twice about 90 feet from the basket, and it wasn't that both of those times gave them 2 free throws, but it put them into bonus earlier, and so those fouls, I think it led to 6 points with uncharacteristic or undisciplined fouls by us led to 6 points by them. So even with us playing that well, we felt like that we should have had a little bit bigger of a margin, and we knew they were going to come out. We knew what was going on in that locker room, and they were going to come out fighting and swinging, and they did. They came out, and they looked like a well-oiled machine after halftime.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have Trey, Elliott, and Yaxel available outside our locker room. You're out there.
Well, to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. I did not like the way we played. I'll give Michigan credit. They played well, I guess. we're starting to have too many turnovers by our bigs. And never thought I'd see the day when Coop gets 2 rebounds in a game, not in the first half. And I'm sure they had something to do with that. But to dig a hole like we did, and the hook and hold thing, I didn't see it, so I have no idea. But we're 8 down, and we're going down to shoot 2 free throws, and that changed the game. I was disappointed in the officiating, but more disappointed in my team. I just did not think we played well enough. Thought there were some bizarre calls. And I thought they made the plays, especially Yaxel made a couple big plays late that were critical, and Cadeau made a couple plays. And it's a shame Jeremy played about as well as he could play in a lot of ways. Just didn't get enough help from enough people. And our offense, I thought, was very poor the first half. Thought it was an incredible comeback. Thought we did everything we could do, and then, we just couldn't get over the hump. So, questions?
Coach, there was a lot of big moments in this game. How do you feel your players handled it emotionally?
Not very well. I didn't think we handled it very well. I thought, Jeremy let their talking get to him and his talking get to them. I didn't think we handled it very well. I did not think that some of those new guys that didn't compete like I think they need to compete to play the game of that at that level. I mean, it was, I don't know how to look at the game. We got off to a bad start, and then we cut the lead, and then that play in the first half, and then all of a sudden it's a 20-point game, and we cut that down, and I said, let's get it down. The 12-minute mark, let's get it to 10. I think at the 15-minute mark, it was down to 5. And because we just started guarding and we started digging in the post and getting some rebounds and getting our break going. But we didn't do enough of that, so I didn't think we handled it well.
Tom, I'm wondering about Jackson, 4-13 tonight, and looked like he struggled a little bit inside, but he hit a couple big shots, too, for you guys. Where do you feel like he's at right now in terms of
Well, he's playing
just
too many
confidence?
minutes. We had no choice. Our young guys just did not. I thought Jesse played pretty well for 3-4 minutes, and then, so we played Jackson, and then Coop got in foul trouble a little bit, so we had to play Jackson more, and I thought his legs were gone at the end. So I don't blame that on him. I blame it on me.
Tom, you think there were two spans of almost 4 minutes without a point in the first half. You went the final 6-12 until the Carr dunk without a made field goal. Is that anything? I mean, this is the second straight game trailing by double digits in the first half. Is it just not making shots tonight, or was there something more to what you saw in that opening game?
I didn't think we when we didn't rebound, we didn't run, and I didn't think we moved the ball very well, to be honest with you. Again, they probably deserve some credit for that. They're a good defensive team, too. It was, until that stretch, the first half, they made a couple threes, and first half, what did we shoot? 26, 16. Second half, we shot a little better from the 2, but couldn't play our best shooters, Kerr and Devine, because they can't just couldn't play them enough.
Tom, early on, was it difficult to combat their physicality and their size, and did you like the way your team responded once you got going in the second half?
Yeah, I like the way they responded, but I don't know why they responded late. I mean, everything we said, we knew. And there were a couple plays between Jackson and Coop that we came out of a huddle and said they're going to run this play, and they just we didn't do a very good job. And so I think in general we responded. I mean, to come back on a team that good like we did in 5 minutes is probably a hell of a response. But you can't dig holes that big and expect to come back either. And so I thought that was the difference. We dug too big a hole, and it all started with that hook and hold, which might have been, I have no idea, bizarre call. I mean, in the middle of everything, But there were a lot of bizarre plays. I'm sure he felt the same way. But when you win, you don't think them as much as when you lose. So, hey, officials didn't cost this game. A lack of getting rebounds and playing defense at the right time of the game cost us a game.
Tom, 4 for 23 from deep, outscored beyond the arc by 12 in a 12-point game. Did you like most of the looks you got, or were there some poor shots taken?
You know, I don't know. I mean, Jeremy took a couple that, you know, he shouldn't have. I told Cohen, you know, I don't mind Cohen shooting, but I thought a couple of them he cast it up there early, and I thought Jordan made one, and then all of a sudden he thought he was gonna. We got guys that are trying to do stuff they can't do. That's why in the last 3 games, our bigs have had 10 turnovers and 9 turnovers. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. And that means they're trying to do more than they can do. So we're going to have to talk about that. But, you know, there's things I've wanted to do for a couple of weeks because I saw some things coming, and we'll do that now. And yet, I'm not going to panic over getting beat in a game that we had that one stretch where just a bad stretch there in that first half, and then the second half, battle all the way back, and then don't quite get it done at the end. We gave up, I think, 3 rebounds at one time, and they hit a 3. Those are daggers, you know, and give them credit. They did it, and they got them.
Tom, Jordan Scott starting the second half. What went into that decision, and what can he bring later on in the
What went
season?
into
Now
that
he has
decision?
experience?
I don't know, you know, you look at your team, and I've been pretty honest with you guys for 2 months, haven't I? What I thought some of my problems were, and yet when you win, you kind of, you know, you don't want to change things up then. And but some of those problems reared its ugly head. You know, we didn't look real comfortable, and he looks more comfortable to me. So I like his comfort level. It makes me feel more comfortable.
Tom, I know you didn't get the outcome you want. Think of the Beatles song, With a Little Help from Our Friends. You talked to Bill Rafter before the game. Dan Campbell's an arm length away. And the Spartans faithful were so loud tonight. What did the support mean for a rivalry game like this?
Man. I mean, you know, Steve Garvey came in, and Dan was here, and I think Gibby was here, and fans were phenomenal. Fans did everything they could do to help us. They were better than phenomenal. I mean, the place was electric. We just didn't give them enough to be electric about. Second half, we did. And Michigan's good. They got a good team. They have a lot of size. They can play different ways. You know, we didn't do some things that we needed to do. And when we got the lead, we didn't do what we do best. We didn't get stops or rebound. I mean, somebody told me that we had no second chance points 90% of that game. I got a couple at the end to make it look good. That's not like us. That's not who we are.
Tom, your teams are kind of known for your physical identity and stuff going up and down the court like that. Is it harder to prepare for a Michigan team that has the size that it has going into a game like this?
Yeah, they have enormous size. They have the biggest size. Maybe Illinois' got different size, but not as athletic as size. They got as good a size as anybody in the country. And so, yeah, it's difficult, but we didn't move the ball. You know, we wanted to move people, and we didn't do that. Second half, we did that, started getting some of those lobs and things, and so we didn't do a good job of that. That's my fault. That's our fault.
Kind of going back to what you mentioned about the bigs and the turnovers, how much of it do you feel like is potentially the guards not coming to them at times? It looked like, whether it be the shooting guards, whether it be point guards, is that some of that, or is it more on the post players themselves for putting themselves in those positions?
You know, I don't know. I mean, if somebody doesn't come to you, we didn't get any 10-second calls, did we? Or 5-second calls. So, I mean, you got the ball. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to watch the film, but this has been 2-3 games now where they've done this, and I think, trying to do more than they really can do. And, I didn't think we did a very good job moving the ball, and that created some of those problems, made it easier for their size to be big instead of moving their size with some athletics. And I didn't think we did that. And then he changed his lineup too and went smaller. I mean, that's not small, but smaller for them by going with Yatzel more at the 4. And that was probably a good move. I mean, Mara played well, but he wasn't as big a factor after the beginning.
Anything else, guys?
Thanks.